Hello everyone, this is Jonathan from the Hexplora team. Today we're going to check out the expansion box for the Sands of Shurax. So let's check it out. So here we have the expansion box. You can see the artwork on the back side. And then on the front side, we show off the Black Pyramid, which is a kind of a new dungeon, if you will, a maze that we've included in the game. All right, so let's break it open. So the first thing you're going to see in here is the traits sheet and then the punch icons. And this is the same material that your roll cards are made out of. So it is a slightly thinner than your punch boards. That way they're the same width as your roll cards. Traits are an augmentation for your hero. You're able to give yourself a stat modifier, both a increase and a decrease in a stat, and then you also have a ton of extra little things that can occur that can trigger throughout the game. You earn trait points, and then your trait will increase in rank as the game progresses. So those are your traits and the punch icons. The punch icons themselves, those are for when you're playing the Ravager against the other players. So you'll be using those as the Ravager. In this case, they become your mutants, fanatical beings. Basically think the Ravager is a god, and so they start to sow discord in the region of Shurax. And so while the Ravager isn't necessarily controlling these mutants, they are nonetheless basically traveling the countryside, basically destroying the earth, just like the Ravager is doing. So those are our traits. All right, let's take a look at what else is in here. So we'll go with the big ones first. So you have several new exclusive roles. So we'll look at the champion first. The champion is both a striker and looks like a healer here. So you get to do some pretty cool stuff with your heroes here. And then we have the Crystal Mage. And the Crystal Mage is both an assist and a sapper. Let's see the artwork on him. Then we have our Plague Lord. And our Plague Lord is kind of a swarm specialist. The swarms and hordes are a new type of opponent in the Sands of Shurax. They actually play much differently than the normal encounters that you are used to. So the Plague Lord kind of makes use of that. And let's see here. His artwork looks like this. Okay, so those are your three exclusive roles that are in the box. Now we're going to take a look at the new bosses. And in this case, we have Idriel, the Undying Swarm. Now, she is basically a swarm boss. And so, much like I was just mentioning, encounters play much differently when you're playing against a horde or a swarm. And this boss battle is kind of amplifies that. It's kind of a fun, different kind of a battle. Then we have the Monstrosity. Now, the Monstrosity is a fun one because this one is actually going to merge two encounters together and to create one mutant encounter. So you will basically be reading the bottom here where it says Monster Mash, and you're basically going to be taking two encounters, placing them together, and then you roll to see what those encounters are doing. And this describes exactly kind of how the battle will unfold, but it can be a very interesting battle depending on what you're fighting, and of course the types of bonuses that you might get from these kind of depends on the level and strength of the encounters that you're fighting. Now the monstrosity is fought anytime, I believe it's anytime you camp on a remnant. So that is one of the crystal formations that are in the desert. So that one can be played a couple of times, more than once. Okay, so then we have Banaki the Bane Shadow. Now Banaki is also a fun one because he's a bounty hunter, and you will actually get different rewards for basically destroying him based on how much content you've played in the game thus far. So if you've gone through and played a great deal and you've gotten some bosses under your belt, you've destroyed some extra things, you've done missions, your wealth, the bounty on your head has increased, and that also means that he's been prepaid to come take you guys out. So the more you do in the game when you fight Banaki, that will determine how much reward you get. And if you're close to the end of the game, man, you get tons of rewards for destroying him. Okay, so that is Banaki. Then, last but not least, we have Astanal, the Lost Arbiter. Now he is a humanoid. He is a level 8 boss. He's basically our highest level humanoid that we've ever kind of included in the Hexplorer series to date. And he is a horde mechanic. So it's basically that he has his army with him. And you basically can become imprisoned, and you can also win over his favor and gain him as a legendary ally. So depending on how things unfold for your group as you're playing, you may end up actually gaining him as an ally. So that's fun. All right, so then we have the Ravager of Shurax. Now this is for when you play the game against the other players. So one player is controlling the Ravager. And this one, you actually have a different set of abilities. So you have Ravage, Emerge, and Submerge. And Emerge and Submerge is typically an automated process in the game, in a normal game. But when you're playing the Ravager as a player, you don't have that automation locking you into how you're actually appearing on the board. So you will either use your Emerge or your Submerge ability, or if you stay in place, you're going to use your Ravage ability. So there is certain things that will happen. You can do basically a bunch of different things with the Ravager. You can use your mutants that I had mentioned before, the tokens here. You can use your tokens, your mutants, to basically nuke. You're nuking like areas where they kind of go into an area and they destroy it. And so this is kind of a fun mechanic that you can actually take away locations from the players as you're playing the game. And of course, it's a kind of a push-pull thing. So you will gain more power if you do certain things. So you will basically become weaker in a different area if you're using your mutants the whole time. So it's very much a strategy of how you want to try and destroy the players, and that's kind of a fun thing. Okay, let's take a look at the back. So the back on that card is your Ravager phase, and that just describes to you, what happens as you play the game. And then it also has your reward table. If any of you have played the villain, again, one versus all, you'll know that you have a chance to upgrade your villain every now and again, just like the heroes upgrade their heroes. And we've always kind of built the villain one versus all mechanic to be very much kind of a give and take. The heroes aren't necessarily meant to be quashed by the villain. Sure, it's a game that we've built to give the villain a chance to destroy the heroes, but we put in the rule book that it's really meant to be a fun, give and take between the heroes and the villain. So we think we've balanced it in a way that it's not going to feel just powerless for the heroes against the villain in this game phase. Game style, I should say. All right, so that is the Ravager. All right, let's take a look. So this last card is our Black Pyramid. And the Black Pyramid is a location that you're going to find on one of the hex tiles, one of the larger map pieces. And it kind of looks like this guy right here. I know it's kind of hard to see here, but basically when you find the Black Pyramid, you can enter it and it becomes a whole new mini game for your group, because you will be facing numerous challenges. You will be basically exploring this dark crypt, this pyramid that is teeming with just horrible things. And on the back of this card, it kind of shows you how that works. Now, we've included, I probably shouldn't get ahead of myself, we'll come back to the Black Pyramid and we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so let's keep looking at the rest of the stuff that's in the box here. All right, so you have 3 dice. These 3 dice are for the Ravager when you're playing against the players. You have Might, Supremacy, and what's the other one? Might, Supremacy, and Prowess. Prowess is the black one. All right, so those are your dice. Then we have a card deck here. This is the Ravager's deck. So this deck of cards you're going to basically be using to play the Ravager against the heroes. And you will have certain abilities that you are able to utilize. You'll gain access to missions kind of like the heroes, but the missions are written in a way where it's like the Ravager has appeared here, and you can play the card. It's more of a flavorful. It's not that the Ravager is actually performing missions. This is a huge creature. It's kind of mindless. So we think. So that's your card deck. Let's just take a look at the last card in the stack here. Unrelenting Tremors. Play at the end of the movement phase. The ground has been shaking for days. Caravan masters sell their items at an additional +2 gold cost markup, and their bribe requirement is doubled for the next 5 game turns. We don't know when it will come for us, but mark my words, it will, and soon. The merchants are all moving to the city-states now. So that is kind of a flavor of what types of cards you can expect in this deck. A lot of end of the world type things are happening as the Ravager is appearing in the land. Okay, then we have a small deck of cards. This is extra caravan events and extra mutations. So if you remember from the core box, you're going to have a card deck that is for caravan events and another card deck for mutations. This is a huge number of extra cards for both of those decks, and they will fit inside that deck box. We've included enough space where the extra cards will fit. So that is extra. So let's look at the last card in this stack. So this is Gift of the Phoenix. It causes you to have a -3 to your energy rank permanently. Your body consumes itself in a brief and fierce flame upon death. Once per game turn, you immediately revive upon death with 1 health and 1 energy remaining. Each copy you possess doubles the amount of vitals you revive back to. So if you get 2 or 3 stacks of Gift of the Phoenix, you're going to come back with more vitals. And this has the health icon on the bottom. That means whenever you gain a health rank, whenever you're getting a health power up, you're getting an extra plus 1 health. So that's what that is. Okay, then let's take a look at these. All of these cards in here are just awesome. Let's see if I can get these out. There we go. All right, so this particular stack of cards, there's a number of cards in this one, more than what we've included in the last, the other 2 expansion boxes. You guys unlocked a ton of stuff. So let's take a look at those last. So we'll take a look at the races first. You have a number of new exclusive races in this deck. Pridekin, Shuraxian Giant, the Akraket, Skirpeen, Knoll, Takreen, Fire Giant, and the Outlands Kirin. So you have a number of new races to add to your deck, your race deck. Then we have a number of new Caravan Masters. So the Caravan Masters that are found in the expansion offer some really fun ways of expanding the Caravan Master mechanic. So many of our backers were the ones who created the Caravan Masters. So as you kind of look through these, many of them have been actually designed by backers. So that has been a very fun thing for us to include. And what you'll notice in this particular deck, caravan journeys are usually initiated in caravan locations on the map. However, we have used many of the Caravan Masters in this expansion to basically expand where journeys can be initiated from. So, for instance, Quimby can be, let's see, his home is ancient crystal deposits. So anytime you find an ancient crystal deposit, you can initiate a caravan journey with this particular caravan master. So same thing, we have Jessica, the Radiant, she's from Nemzinyet, so you would be able to initiate one with her from there. Let's see, Jerby, the Fallen One, any cave. So anything where you find a cave on the map, you can initiate with him if his Caravan Master is revealed. The Wastes, Sarth Venomclaw, Omasu is the Oasises. So any oasis on the map, you'll be able to initiate a journey with him there. Mountain Peaks, Great Trees, and Ruined Villages. So, for instance, Malambros the True, you can go to any great tree. And what's the cool thing for this, too, is that we did this because when you're playing a duel game, you'll have certain other locations on the map in the other games. So, for instance, if you're playing a duel game, Sands of Shurax and Valley of the Dead King, well, now you can use Malambros the True on any great tree. And the great tree icon is all over in the valley, all over in Forest of Adramon. So it broadens where you can use the Caravan Masters in the game. So that's quite fun. Okay, then we have the legendary cards. These are allies, and they are items that you might find. Several of the items are found in the Black Pyramid. Several of the allies that you might find are triggered. So in the game, you may fight Cricket, who is the Takreen boss. I think he's level 2. If you bribe Cricket, he will drop his hostilities against you and just join your group. And then you have a wonderful ally that you can use as a special way of interacting with the game. I think I mentioned the same thing with the Lost Arbiter, Astenal, and he has certain rules as well. And then we have Renvali, who is in the city of Dria. And Dria is basically being destroyed from within by kind of this terrorist kind of group who they just kind of terrorize the populace, and so she is fighting against them. And if you fight against them in the city of Dria, you can win over her favor. So there's tons of different things that you can do in this game that isn't just about the Ravager or fighting him. You have Philo the Giant. You can befriend him and gain him as an ally. And then you have a ton of really cool treasures. Idriel's Bone Torque. So Idriel was the swarm boss. If you defeat her, you get the Bone Torque. You have Grimm's Grimoire. And Magnus Grimm is a sorcerer who basically tapped into the dark side a little bit too much, and he is kind of locked in between being a spirit and a undead creature. So when you fight him, he switches from spirit to undead in the battle, and if you defeat him, if you have the expansion at least, you'll gain Grimm's Grimoire, and this allows you to actually cast spells, dark magic spells. So on the front side, you have the spell casting ability, and then it shows you all of the different spells that you can cast. And now this one is not double-sided with an image, but it shows you all of the cool spells that your hero might be able to cast with this item. Okay, then you have the Assassin's Scroll. This allows you to basically gain a number of extra cash-in bonuses for bounties, and it allows you to find bounties more easily. So the Assassin's Scroll is something that I believe it drops by Bannicky, but you'll be able to find that in the rulebook. It shows where those drop. Okay, then we have a couple of items like Kaun's Crystal Warglaive here. This one is found in the Black Pyramid, I believe, and you can basically do some really cool stuff with that. It kind of enrages you and things. Oh no, the enraging is actually the other crystal. So that is this guy here. So this is the Rage Shard, and this is basically it taps into mutations and mutations in this game, at least the Ravager, it's all based upon like rage and uncontrollable rage. So that is what this Rage Shard is. It basically gives you a ton of combat bonuses and taps into your mutations. Okay, so that is that. Let's take a little closer look at the Black Pyramid. So the Black Pyramid comes with a small stack of cards. I believe there are five Black Pyramid maps. So when you enter the Black Pyramid, first thing you're going to do is draw a map, and that is going to change the layout of the dungeon. So for instance, this card that we just drew is going to show a couple of things. It shows in the upper left-hand corner what the treasure vault reward is. So anytime you would find a treasure vault, you will get the reward shown here. It shows in the middle, just to the right of the map, it will show who the end boss is in this particular pyramid. So this pyramid is controlled by the Scorpion King. Now, and it also shows right underneath the Scorpion King, it shows what the guard type is. So the guards in this particular pyramid are going to be monstrous humanoid horde. Okay, so each of these cards will have a different guard type and a different end boss, and of course a different route that goes through the pyramid. And the route that the pyramid that you'll go through is it's linear, but you might find sacred passages that lead you through to a different area. And you can see that with the little arrows here where you'll be able to skip certain things. And each of these icons indicates a different type of chamber. Okay, and then one last thing to note is that there are numbered rooms. And the numbered rooms in the Black Pyramid, you will find them in the rule book here. So let's just go to the rule book. Yeah. So the gallery descriptions, each of these locations, they're numbered 1 through 12, I believe. And you'll be able to, 1 through 16. So there are 16 unique chambers that you may find. Not all 16 are in every map, but you may find them as you're playing through the Black Pyramid. And certain things will happen. You will gain definitely tons of power-ups in the Black Pyramid. So it's a very fun kind of process to play through. So that is the Black Pyramid. All right, let me put those cards back. All right, then we have the caravan of, the extra cards, extra card decks that you will have in this game. Now, this card deck includes cards from the mission deck, from actually all 4 of the mission decks, cards from the power-up deck, and cards from the circumstance deck. So these are just extra cards that you can put into your game. And just like the caravan events and mutations, there's extra room in your core box card decks to hold those. All right, so that's what we got. Of course, I didn't mention the rulebook too much here, but you do have a rulebook that gives you basically all of the different rules that accompany this expansion. It is worth noting that there are new items to be purchased in the city states, so you can find those here. Another thing that we included in the expansion is basically an extra way to play with reputation. Now, reputation in the Sands of Shurax can give you certain things based on how you play the game, who you interact with as a caravan master, who you are performing missions for, like which city-state. It will bring your reputation up or down in a certain way. There are 4 reputations, and so as you move around the reputation box as you play the game, certain things will happen. Now, with exalted reputation, basically what we've done is we've said if you reach the edge of the reputation box, you are considered exalted. So, for instance, if you are righteous and you've done some really good things in the game, and you are all the way to the edge of the righteous axis, you are exalted with the city-state that matches that axis. In this case, righteous borders Drea. Okay, so what happens if you're exalted with Drea? You reduce the gold cost of all items from other volumes by 5. So that is Drea's special ability. You are able to purchase items from any other game in the series. And when you're exalted, you actually reduce the gold cost by 5. If you're exalted with Ferora, you may share knowledges with Ferora while you're in any city-state, so you no longer have to be in Ferora to gain that special ability. In Tari, you raise 4 health and 4 energy after each Tari event, arena event, so that will help you in Tari's gladiatorial arena. And in Nems and Yet, if you are exalted, a hero may re-roll the first strike rolled each time they play Scarabs. So the mini gambling game of Scarabs, if you are exalted with Nems and Yet, you can re-roll the first of 3 strikes. Okay, so that is exalted with the city-states. That is if you are exalted on the edge. We've also included being exalted with factions. So there are 4 factions in the game. And that is if you are on basically the corner of two accesses. Okay, so if you are both, if you're in the corner of righteous, then you would be exalted with the Agra faction. If you are the exalted in the corner of rebellious, you would be exalted with the Faders. And let's take a look at that. So if you're exalted with the Faders, while the group is exalted with the Faders, poor and desperate Ravager survivors believe the doomsday stories you tell. Each time the heroes exit a ruined village, that is a location on the map, roll the pyramid, the group gains the resulting number of Ravager crystals. So people are just like giving you Ravager crystals because you are kind of doomsday soothsayers, kind of. So that's kind of fun. There's a number of different things you can do with the exalted system. And that's a fun thing to be able to do. Of course, you have all your Black Pyramid rules here, and that just kind of goes through how to play through that. And then, of course, the large part of that is just the galleries. So when you get to a certain gallery, you simply just read it and do whatever it says to do. The very last page of the Black Pyramid section is a random loot table area. And this is what you would be rolling on when you actually gain a treasure, access to the treasure vault. In addition to, whatever the card says the treasure vault rewards may be. Okay, then you have the boss area, and this just kind of gives you an idea of how those bosses trigger. And then the rest of the book is simply playing the Ravager against the players. All right, so that's what we've got with the expansion of the Sands of Shurax. It was an amazing, fun thing for us to be able to put this together. I'm quite happy that we were able to unlock it during the campaign, and the amount of stuff that we put in this box is just awesome. So thanks again, you guys, and we will look at the hero chest next.